Hey there, welcome back to these conversations with no one, where I attempt to share my experience of living in a state of somewhat non-identification with my character and duality. It's been a while since I've had one of these conversations, mostly because there's been a lot going on in life that has kept me from engaging with my experience in this way. Not a lot of time and space. I'll probably make a video about that at some point in the future once things have come full circle and I have some perspective on everything that's been going on. But aside from that, I've noticed a few changes in my actions and behaviors recently, at least when it comes to this channel. And I shared in the past conversations how I try to learn from observing my character these days instead of choosing who I want him to be and then attempting to make him fall in line. And this is kind of a real life example of that. Externally, my channel has been quite an interesting ride so far. For a year or so, I was literally talking to no one, as I only had a couple of subscribers that were family, and only had those because I wanted them to have access to my thoughts when I wasn't around, if they wanted to engage, but not because they were extremely interested in watching my videos or that I expected them to. And then one day, about 7-8 months ago, something happened, and I guess I got the attention of the algorithm because suddenly people started watching these and comments began to trickle in. It really caught me off guard when that happened. And at some point I was having multiple interactions a day with all of you, which was educational, inspiring, and validating, yeah. To my amazement, the amount of subscribers grew past 100, then past 200, and started climbing to 3. And then as quickly as it started, the momentum tapered off, leaving kind of a new equilibrium. New subscriptions have all but stopped, as have comments, though it seems that people are still watching these at the same rate. So I began including my email address for people to engage further, and as a result of that, I've spoken several times to 3 people maybe. And it seems like that's where things are at. Now I'm not complaining or worried, just observing the trends, the patterns, because there's no purpose or goal here, just an experience of letting this be whatever it is. Curiously, or maybe obviously, at the same time, this experience created a change of experience inside of me as well. Through interactions with others, I became inspired with more thoughts to share, as well as slightly different angles to come from this whole conversation. My conversation with no one, which is the second one. The first conversation was sort of a thought experiment of trying to work through an existential challenge that I was having at the moment, and after it was over, I decided to keep going with more general sharing. So the main conversation is the second one, and then I realized that I wanted to talk from a couple different angles as well. So I've got the third conversation, which is stories about my character in the moment, or stories from the past. And the fourth conversation, when people started asking me questions and and engaging with me, that are more conversations with someone because somebody asked me. I made more videos during this time because there was so much interaction, which generated thoughts. I don't, these days, don't usually sort of dwell on this subject without some external stimulus. And now that this channel has kind of reached an equilibrium, it feels like I have as well. While the channel was growing, I was growing intrigued about how that was transforming my experience in ways I couldn't expect. The potential for new possibilities as created was wonderfully uncomfortable. Well, looks like we have a bit of a doggy disagreement over here. The amount of engagement I was having kept growing, and I wondered if there might come a point where I didn't have the time to personally engage with everyone as much as I would like. And it really was a ride that was carrying me along, engaging me often. And in a lot of ways it most likely still is. I'm still being carried along, just at a different pace in a different way. I'm sure this moment of stillness will lead to other moments without regard to what was happening the moment before. But I'm sitting in this moment, as it's the only one I have, and contemplating how these changes feel. And what I'm wondering is if maybe this second conversation is pretty much over, because I feel like I've shared every aspect of what I'm experiencing. About different topics or different angles of the experience. I feel like I've covered it all. Some things in more than one way, from different angles. And I wondered for a while if I'd run out of things to share completely, and if posting on this channel in general would simply taper off. But that doesn't seem true to me, and realistically I know myself better than that. I'm always observing and discovering new perspectives and having new experiences because of that. Whenever that happens, like now is a good example, I'll make another video. But what I feel now is that there's only conversations in 3 left to have. Mostly number 3, the observations and stories in the moment, or of my character, things that I would like to have a personal record of, sort of like the ghost story I told in one of my past videos. And there may still be the occasional conversation 4 with someone, as I'm sure there will be other interactions, other comments, other people asking questions at some point, and possibly another topic or angle I discover that I don't feel I've already done to death. But all I find to share at this time is what's happening now. And to be fair, some of this may be down to my external experience getting very interactive. My amount of downtime I usually spend with only myself has all but disappeared for the time being. And that might drag out for a bit. A change occurred, choices were made, and events now have a life of their own. There are people in my life who are engaging me in specific aspects of my character. So the usual waveform sort of experience is temporarily collapsed into specific particles. it's a lot and it's unknown, and I'm sure I'll have more to share about it in the days to come at some point. But at the moment, it's all momentum and the possibility of my external reality shifts multiple times a day at the moment. There simply isn't time to express my experience of the moment before that moment flies into the next one, which is why I imagine I'll talk more about that when things calm down again and I have a bit of time to process and gain perspective over what the whole journey was about. I can't really imagine emerging out of the other side of this without having plenty of things to share. So yeah, I'm sure I'll be making some more videos in the future if anybody is interested in anything and wants to let me know what thoughts they'd like me to share. I'm still 100% open to that, and I'll still have my email down in the comments section. So other than that, thank you for hanging out with me here on this beautiful day. This is the same exact spot. I don't like to film in the same spots more than once, but this is the same spot where I started these videos almost 2 years ago, I think. Yeah. Maybe 2 years ago this October. Can't remember when I started them, but anyway, thanks for listening, and hope you have a great day, and I'm sure we'll talk soon. Take care.